Right, and here we are. We're on episode 72. I think it's 72. Episode 72, just passing through podcast. I thought this episode, we're all about Bradford because they got the city of culture. Now, I thought that I was going to spend the whole episode shitting on Bradford because I don't live there anymore. But it turns out we did the recording yesterday and I've just come up here, up into the park, looking over Zusha, just to put this together because I didn't sleep right last night. I think I do for all me shitting on Bradford. I think I do miss it a bit. Yeah, like an old girlfriend. Not one of them that were an arsehole. One of them long-term shitty relationships. But that maybe Bradford is one of them 1-2 night stands that you have. You know, she's not the prettiest. She's a lot of fun. Is Bradford. She's not the prettiest one. Yeah. And I told this story to Duncan on the podcast and he were all up for it. He said, yeah, we're all up for that. There's somebody coming now. So I'll put all this down and I'll edit it all out later. I come up here to get out of the way. You've got to come up a massive hill. And I'm at the back of the park. And we're in middle of rainy season now. Well, I say middle of rainy season. Rainy season's just we're a week into it. So you're kind of between rainstorms. And I thought, right, I'll be all right up here. Sayonara. And yeah, I've just changed my clothes up here because I just come from work. I come up, I change my clothes. I've been just down to my underpants here, not a fucking soul around. And then as soon as you're a minute into recording, fucking Piccadilly Circus. Yeah. Anyway, so what were I saying? Yeah. So after that podcast last night, I think I've realised that Bradford's that fun girlfriend that you spend a couple of nights with. Like I say, not pretty. She probably comes out with an off-colour remark every now and again, but when you're drunk, it don't matter. And maybe she don't wash. Maybe she's not a cleanly one, but she's a lot of fun and a little bit dangerous if she's crossed. And I didn't think that I'd. It made me think. Yeah, I must miss it, because I do when I'm here in Japan or wherever I am around the world, and I tell people I'm from Bradford. Like I mentioned in podcast, you either get an intake of breath. The second most common one is Jesus Christ. And yeah, the third, you might get a racist remark. A lot of that. Or you might get all three. Yeah. So I want shitting on her, but there you go. Anyway, you can hear this on the podcast, but this is where I live now. So let me just, for them watching on YouTube, you can get this on just passing through podcast on YouTube. But what am I doing here? Anyway, I'm just going to pick it up and I'll show you where I am. All right. So like I say, it's been so out there. If it weren't cloudy, we're looking out to the west. So beyond that cloud there is Izu Peninsula. That's where my wife's family are from. And you can see sailors down there. They're already practicing. already practicing in 2022 for Olympics in Paris in a couple of years. Yeah. So let me just walk down here. Get over this rope. If you, I'll go down to the end here. So out there, straight in front of you, you've got Hayama. You've got Hayama. That's the next town along from where I am. See, sailors are coming in now. There, down there is Sushi Marina. Sushi Marina's just down there. So, straight in front of you there, that little village that's in that bay over there beyond the marina. I had a job there this morning. I did that job and then I came home. Now I live on that beach there. That's Sushi. They're just they're building up beach bars for summer. In June, on June the 1st, they all rack up, all the carpenters rack up, and they spend maybe 3 or 4 weeks putting up the beach bars. And then July and August, from the 1st of July to the 31st of August, they're up there selling the wares to people on the beach. And I mean, it's all right if you don't live here. If you don't live here, it's all right, but a lot of people come down here from Tokyo and they just spend the time getting pissed. So I mean, it's not a place, I mean, Japanese people are very polite and stuff. It's not Benidorm. It's a classy town, but obviously it's not Benidorm, and it's safe. But like I said, Hayama's over there. Behind me, beyond these trees and down the hill, is Kamakura. And that's my town there, Sushi, which is sandwiched in the middle. And we're kind of the working class. I mean, you can see the houses there that are in front of you. We're up in Hirayama, and all the rich and famous live up here, and they've got their own fucking villas up here. Yeah, so we're kind of like the shit munchers. We're the shit sandwiched in between Hayama and Kamakura. But like you say, you're surrounded by mountains and trees. Gorgeous. Fucking gorgeous. And yeah, that's why I appreciate every day I live here. Coming from a place like Bradford where it's rough and ready, but the people are very nice. The people I grew up with were nice, and they'd take the bullet for you. But I cashed all that in to live here. And I mean, even on an overcast day like today, it's still nice. And there you have it. That's my hometown. That's my kids' hometown. That's my kids' hometown. That's where they're going to grow up. And you worry because you want to give them a decent place to live, a safe place to live. But when they step out in the world by themselves, I think they're going to be fucked. For all them that grow up in towns and cities across the north of England, although it's rainy, it's cold, it's dangerous, you know, you've got to watch yourself. But when you step out into the world, you've sort of got some tools that make you spot the dodgy bastards that are out there. Whereas here, we don't even lock us door when we go to work. My wife and kids know that I regularly don't take my key. So doors just left open. Windows are left open because it gets so hot and humid in winter. In summer, you've got to let wind blow through. Otherwise, leave air conditioning on all day. So we just leave windows open and fucking doors left open. Nothing. I mean, I've got my bike parked here now, but there's a sign that says you've got to leave it at entrance to the park. I thought, I'm not doing that. So I've brought it here with me because I had all this gear on. But I could have left it there. I could have left it there with key and lock and it wouldn't get touched. I could have left my bag on there with all this equipment and it wouldn't have got touched. Yep. So that's it. I'm gonna hand you over to the podcast we did yesterday. And congratulations, Bradford. City of Culture 2025. I might come, actually. I might come while it's going on. It'd be fun and bring Duncan, get pissed on town hall steps and see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to hand you over to Smokie. None of that late fucking 90s, early 2000s crap, the 70s stuff. The episode will be peppered with everything Bradford. It'll be nothing but Bradford. You know, Terrorvision, Smokie, James, Rita Sue and Bob too. And before you start saying, James are a Manchester band, singers from Idle. So fuck you. Alright? So enjoy podcast, enjoy everything Bradford. And Bradford, I love you like a one night stand. Enjoy the episode. See you later. Don't matter. But they've asked to put stuff all over Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
Right, now, what they've got here is... Where have I put it? I'm going to have to edit all this fucking out. If we don't... Right, okay. So, this is from Kirsty Taylor. Kirsty Taylor, who is a poet from Bradford. And this is spray painted, I think it's outside at Alhambra, which is where theatre is. So, it says... racing in us blood, you can't take us out of Bradford, but you can take us out of Bradford, but you can't take Bradford out of us.
Weak.
It is weak.
Wouldn't like that.
Now, she's a poet. So, you can take us out of Bradford, but you can't take Bradford out of us. Now, you've known me for a while. You've never been to Bradford, but you've known me. What do you think is still stuck in me that's Bradford, apart from my accent?
Well, hopefully nothing.
From what I've told you about the city, what would you say makes me Bradford? You know other Yorkshire folk, don't you?
Yeah, certainly, yeah, a couple of. Yeah.
Am I different to them?
No, I wouldn't say so. No.
So there's no special about being from here, is there?
No, not at all. Not at all. So I mean, but that kind of sentence is just one of those throwaway, cheeky, charmy lines. It's useless. It's pointless. It has no meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, would people say that to you? You can take him out of Amsterdam, but you can't take Amsterdam out of him.
No, because it's nonsense. No, but no, in Holland we don't say those things. It doesn't
resonate.
No, because Dutch people travel all over the world and integrate, or they become part of the community. They certainly wouldn't hold anything particularly Dutch. They might bake some Dutch cookies every now and then, but that's about it. There's no actual identity.
But I can't understand why people would be so proud.
Well, after what you've told me, I can't see whether I'd keep it a secret.
Yeah. Now, another one. This would be Munaza Kulsum, right? And I'm not having a go,
But here we go.
Well, this is it. She writes for the Bradical Press, right? So she's taken Bradford and she's taken Radical, and she's put them together, Bradical. Now, if you want to set the fucking alarm bells ringing, in the government, you'd bang those two words together and they're going to be watching you. Do you not think?
Is there a grant for this tabloid?
Well, she's going out on her own, so I salute her for her entrepreneurial work and all that sort of stuff. But Bradical Press?
Yeah, God knows what that actually even means.
Right, do you want to know what her saying is? And it sounds a bit worrying.
I'm sceptical, but let's go.
If we don't tell our stories, no one else will.
Good Lord.
That's a bit rapey, isn't it? You think?
It's a harrowing line.
It is. When I saw it, I thought, and that where I've looked in Bradford, that street has got like very limited street lighting. and a woman would not walk down there at night. So to be walking down there at night under dim lights and where Yorkshire Ripper used to, his kingdom was, and if you're walking back, well, if we don't tell our stories, no one will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not very appealing. I wouldn't choose that one either.
But why have the council agreed to spray paint that on floor?
Well, that has been sprayed.
It's already done.
Bloody hell.
You
Are they
know.
trying to get out of it? They're trying to have the jury change its mind or something?
Well, I'll give you the last one and then I'll move on to something else because it's a lot of fucking bollocks.
Bradford, where the culture stops at nothing.
Well, it just doesn't seem to be. I mean, when Benito Carboni were there, when we were in Premiership, he was an Italian fucking mid-table player from Italy, and he came to Bradford. He did two seasons. We got relegated, and he left.
That was it.
And the fans were saying, "So what you're telling me is he were only here because he were getting 40 grand a week?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, I knew that." But the people that were, this were in 2000, they were getting 40 grand a week.
His heart wasn't really in it.
You know, an Italian is not going to move to Bradford for the culture.
For
You know?
the ambience.
They couldn't get over it.
The City of Lights, Bradford. Red, amber, green.
And that
Back to
were
red.
that were it. But there's so much Bad Boy Chiller Crew. Have you heard of the Bad Boy Chiller Crew?
No, I thought you were making these things up.
No, the Bad Boy Chiller Crew have got big on YouTube. And
Right.
they were like a Jackass light. But they've started doing all these rap videos. And they're not bad, but it seems like a piss take. Did you ever get Goldie Looking Chain?
No.
Ever heard of them?
No.
They were a band from Wales that were doing all this shit. And that they were good and they were funny. These are good, kind of, and kind of funny, but they're not as good as Goldie Looking Chain. But they get. I looked at one of the videos online and they've got like 70 million views on this one
Wow.
video. Anyway, their one is Bradford, are you with me? You there?
I don't get it.
Bradford, and neither do I. Bradford, are you with me? Are you there? Is that's...
I mean, are they insinuating there's nobody there?
Well, the last time I heard anybody say something like that was when my aunties were around and they got the Ouija board out. You know? Is anybody there? Are you there? If you're there, give us a sign.
Is there anyone here who knows Sam? Or Mike? You know Mike?
I'm hearing the word nonce.
That's a great one. That's fantastic. Yeah.
But yeah, so these little fucking snippets of gold are popping up all over Bradford at the moment.
All right. Yeah, I suppose it's something to do. I don't know if it's been elected just in the hope of shining a light on it, so it'll be gentrified and become a bit less horrible.
But do you know? I don't know if you know these other cities, but do you know who's passing the torch on to Bradford?
What? Auschwitz?
Coventry. Now, Coventry
Who
is
elects these places?
Coventry is. I used to work in Coventry every Monday and Tuesday. And that's another shite. It's a copy and paste. I don't think there's as much racism in Coventry. I'm sure there's certainly as much alcoholism and fucking wife beating and child molesting, but I don't think there's as much racism
As it should be.
because there's not as many. There aren't as many foreign people in Coventry as there's in Bradford, so I don't think they've got the pool for it to have as much. But before Coventry, Hull.
City Culture Hall.
Now Hull is where the boat comes in from Holland.
Yeah.
So-
Holland and back.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
Fools
yeah.
and Horses episode.
Yeah, to Hull and back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's one vowel from hell, isn't it? Hull.
Yeah.
All that place has got going for it is the bridge. There's a suspension bridge that leads to Lincolnshire. The most fucking boring county in England is Lincolnshire. It's flat and there's fuck all there. And there's a bridge. And the bridge leading from East Yorkshire to Lincolnshire is the most famous thing. And David Bowie's backing band were from there. That's it.
Alright.
So it were Hull, Coventry, and now Bradford have got it.
Is there something that a city can't be named twice? So they've got to go through the entire country just purely by the fact that it hasn't been named
They're
once?
going through... It's shit towns. I don't know if they're expecting loads of money to be coming through the door because of the city of culture, but it's just these shit towns.
Well, there's thought gone into this, so I just can't see the...
You just can't see the thought that's gone into it. But I were thinking of the other people that have that went in for it. So the other cities and towns that went in for it, okay? Southampton.
Well, wasn't Ade Edmondson from there?
Ed Edmondson was from Bradford.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had this whole discussion.
Yeah, we've had this discussion before.
Yeah.
So Southampton, I flew into Southampton from Holland.
Is it an airport?
Yeah. I was just on one of them twin prop things. It were a propeller. So I flew into Southampton. I'd had perfect service on public transport in Holland. And then I flew into Southampton, and then I were getting a National Express down to Weymouth to meet my dad. Flew in. Right, where's the bus? Oh, it's delayed 2 hours.
Welcome.
Obviously it is. I've flown from Narita to Heathrow, and then I was supposed to catch a connecting flight to Leeds Bradford. Cancelled, right? So I had to wait, get a coach. It took me longer to get from London to Bradford than it did to get from Tokyo to Heathrow.
That's insane.
Yeah, it took me fucking longer.
Yeah, you get spoilt here with all this.
But as soon as I landed in Southampton, right, 2 hours, and there were a Morrison's over at road, so I went into that Morrison's because the kids were hungry, and I got something to eat. Sat down, and as I'm ordering my case, I had my case with me, and the kids were sat down. As I'm ordering, this 60-year-old fella just sat down at the table and started talking to kids. And as I got there, he's handing them these chew sweets. Oh, so where are you staying? What are you doing? Do you want to come? Fuck off. And that was Southampton. So Southampton didn't get it. Wrexham.
I don't know these places, mate.
Wrexham
it's like a dart in the map.
You'll know Wrexham if I tell you. You know that team that Ryan Reynolds is taking over?
Oh, yeah. In Wales?
Yeah. So Wrexham's in Wales. Wrexham's not bad. It's not bad. It's not Chester, but it's not bad. Didn't get it. Now, County Armagh, Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Obviously, they've had the problems, so it'd be nice going there. And I've been there, and it is nice. The county of Cornwall went up for it, right?
Nice.
The county of Cornwall went up for it, and Stirling.
No.
You know where it is?
No.
Stirling's beautiful. It's in Scotland. Stirling Castle. It's fucking stunning. It's stunning. But the jewel in the crown that went up against us were County Durham. So County Durham is obviously in Durham, but the town Durham went in for it. Didn't get it. Now, can you imagine getting that call in Durham? Oh, you lost out. You lost out. I'm so Cornwall. I want Cornwall. No, it won't. Can you imagine? And Bradford would have been on the bottom. So it wasn't fucking Southampton. No, you lost to Bradford.
Who else was on this list?
Fucking lost to Bradford.
Hangs up right away.
But looking at the list, Armagh, Banbridge, Bainbridge, Cornwall, Derby, Southampton, Stirling, Wrexham, and they fucking won it.
That's quite incredible.
You can imagine the fellas that have been in charge of the bidding process.
Yeah.
They'll be in some shallow grave now at the side of A1.
I bet.
On the outskirts of County Durham. Because you'd think your chances were good going up against Bradford.
Now, I didn't send you this because I couldn't get a good picture, but her T-shirt that she's wearing there, or the sweater, is Bradford University.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm assuming there's another Bradford in America.
There is a Bradford in America. I think it's up by Detroit.
Okay, well, it had to be that. But
it's in the Bradford colours, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's Bradford City's colours.
But is there a university in Bradford?
Of course there is.
I don't know, mate.
But this Bradford University is the top university in the UK for archaeology.
For archaeology.
Wait, you see, that's the sort of reaction I say when I say I'm from Bradford. When I said to you it's the top university for archaeology, you laughed at me as if I were fucking lying.
As if the people there's so many old crones that.
Do you know why archaeology is so big in Bradford? Because people love fucking mourning and bringing up the past.
Digging up the
You
past.
go to any family Christmas party or New Year's party and they're just raking up the past. And it starts with a few drinks and then things get heated, people get too pissed. Mascara is running on the women as the men fight in the corner. The Christmas tree's fucking knocked over.
Crying
Somebody's head's gone through telly. Christmas presents have been trodden on.
Yeah, it's Christmas. What do you want?
And then as they all get kicked out of the house, the fucking dustbin comes through the front window. I've been at 3 parties where the dustbin has come through the front window, and they've all been at Christmas.
And they drive away in their cars, completely drunk,
Yeah.
go over the rose garden, go through the garden.
But if that's an analogy, is it? It's probably why Bradford had a good archaeology department, because we love raking up the fucking past.
Digging up the past, yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
That's what it's all about.
Well, congratulations, Bradford. A title well deserved.
I think I'm feeling a lot lighter now. I am feeling a lot lighter after that, because I couldn't believe they'd won something. But then when you look into it, what they've won is
a sympathy
shit.
vote.
Yeah, they've won it because it's nobody feels sorry for Bradford, and we don't want to be felt sorry for. But yeah.
Well, it's like the Olympics going to some country because they want to
Qatar.
the spotlight. Yeah.
It's like the World Cup going to Qatar.
We want to have a look at the old human rights there. Let's try and get that in the spotlight. They'll stop behaving so badly.
But when I used to listen to, when in the 70s and the 80s, early 80s, you had your radio on record player, yeah, and you could tune into Police Band and listen to the Police. Right. All the criminals did it when they went out robbing. They'd have a little transistor radio in their ear. So they'd be robbing this house. And if they said, oh, there seems that lights have gone on in this house, get yourself over there, they'd hear and they'd just leave. So because there were fuck all to do in the 70s and the 80s, I used to tune in to Police because they were looking for Ripper. And I thought if I listened to it for an hour at night, I might be able to hear them catching Ripper. That's what I thought.
Oh, it's kind of exciting if you could hear an actual live radio version of Cops.
The amount of times that I would say to my dad after listening to Police, Dad, what's a jungle bunny? You know, because they were so racist. My dad's like, where have you heard that? I said, oh, it's on Police. He said, you shouldn't be listening to that, it's illegal. But the racism that were coming out of the Police.
Is that illegal? You're not allowed to?
Oh, you weren't allowed to know. Because that give you a step up on Police.
But how on earth would they know?
They wouldn't know. But if they would have to come to your house,
watch you listen
and put the head against door and hear the policeman on, and then kick your door down and say, right, you're arrested. But it got to the point where if they came into your house and the radio wasn't on, but they could see that it was tuned to the police band, they could charge you for that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So a lot of police were going into known criminals, not finding out, and while they weren't looking, somebody would go and tune it in, and hey up, and then they'd be back at van.
That's a plant. Planting a tune.
But yeah, you weren't allowed to listen to out like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But this is the joy. This is the joy of coming from somewhere like that. You get these little... You just get a sprinkling of fairy dust every now and again. You don't get it like you get it all the time in Amsterdam.
I don't think Holland... I haven't heard of those City of Culture things in Holland. I'm sure it's there, but I don't think it's...
I mean, you're the jewel in the crown in Holland, aren't you? Obviously, because you're capital city. But what are the chaff... Have you got any chaff towns?
Yeah, certainly.
outside of Rotterdam and Amsterdam, where would be the town where you'd get the same reaction as if I said, "Oh, I'm from Bradford"?
Yeah, not many places. No, there'd be neighbourhoods in Amsterdam where you think, "Oh, really? Are you from there?"
But there's neighbourhoods in Bradford. You go on from Bradford, whereabouts? Oh, Mudbush. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Canterbury Avenue were always one that I grew up with. Oh, you don't want to be dating her. She's from Canterbury Avenue. That were the one. It was just that avenue.
What's happening there though?
Rough as shit. But that over any it was just one street, one avenue in Bradford. Oh, she's from Canterbury, not the town. If somebody said, "Oh, you don't want to be going anywhere near them, they're from Canterbury," you wouldn't be thinking that if you're from Bradford, you don't think the town, you think Canterbury Avenue.
The Hague.
Is it rough round there?
Yeah, although that's the political city.
But that's where they sort out all war criminals and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, but that's not what the normal people do. No, there's a very famous historical working man's area, and this year their team got relegated on the last day, and that match was they had to win or whatever, and they lost in the last minute. And the supporters just rush on the field, and they started attacking the opposite areas and attacking anybody, the police, and it's just a nightmare. It was big news in Holland because it was just again these people. I thought this was all done and dusted in the 80s, but they were livid, and it's on YouTube. You should take a look because it's very good. ADO Den Haag, The Hague, the last game of this year, and even their team said. I mean, the announcement later on TV, the PR guy said, "I'm deeply ashamed. This is just absolutely horrible. There'll be lifetime bans for a number of these people."
Yeah.
But they just rush the field, punching people in the face, anybody, go to the other side, the opposing teams, throwing stuff into their areas. It's just back into the 80s.
And that's the rough...
Yeah, it's called the Schilderswijk, which means that the painters' neighbourhood.
Yeah.
I guess that's where the painters used to live, like the rough, council painters. But traditionally very always trouble there. The police are there all the time. You'll hear car alarms going off. It's just nasty.
But our friend Tom from DC, he said you get a couple of streets away from all White House and stuff, and it's as rough as fuck, isn't it? It's supposed to be really rough.
Where?
DC, Washington.
Really?
Yeah. He says you get away from White House and Capitol building only 2 or 3 blocks, and you've got to watch which fucking way you're turning, left or right, because it's just gang central. Yeah, really rough.
Oh, they really keep it local then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, he's from DC, of course, isn't he? He's always going on with it.
But even some of these podcasts that I listen to, and there's people from DC, they're saying, it's fucking dodgy.
That's not my opinion. I mean, not my image of that area.
Well, I've never been to DC. Have you?
No. But because of the White House and all that, all the government buildings, all the tourist things and the parks and Arlington and everything, it's all there. You'd think that'd be a kind of governmental city. Yeah, gangs is not my image of that area.
No. But going back before we lock it all up here. The fire, the riots, the Ripper. Those are the 3 things that people will think about when they think of Bradford.
Welcome to Bradford.
Yeah,
that should be the slogan on the streets.
Ripper, racism. Oh, how can you get the R into a football disaster?
Rage.
Ripper, racism, and rage. They're not going to put that on.
Random violence.
Telling the stories others won't.
Yeah, well, what?
I can't understand why somebody's said, "Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine."
Someone looked at that and said, "Oh yeah, that's not bad." But what were the other options then? If that one was fine,
because I was thinking, why can't I send something in expat abroad? But I don't know. I'm glad I left.
I miss it every day.
I'm glad I left.
It's in my bones.
There's no but piss it down.
It's in my bones, the asbestos.
But it's done. The City of Culture, Bradford 2025. Shall we go?
What? No.
Shall we go?
You're not selling it. You're the worst salesman
we'll
of
go,
the tourist board for Bradford I've ever met.
We'll go in 2025 and we'll do a podcast.
Be mugged.
From Town Hall steps. Looking out, because there's a water park. There's a fucking water park, right? Oh yeah, oh god, yeah. Even that. So they've got a load of fountains outside Town Hall that I think 10, 20 years ago, they flagged it over. So it's all pedestrian way. And then they turned it into this water park. So you've got a shallow amount of water, and then in summer, well no, all year round, the fountains are going off. So when I went there in summer in 2019, me and my dad took kids down to Town Hall, and the fountains were going, and down to knickers and underpants, and the kids were just jumping about. And I would say I saw 3 men just smartphones out, just filming all the kids.
Well, dads.
No, they weren't dads. They weren't dads. They had no kids with them. They had no kids with them. But I was saying to my dad, look at these. I don't think they're filming these fellas are filming everybody's kids. And my dad said, well, it's better them filming than them fucking them. And that was his thing.
That should be one of the slogans. I think Bradford.
Better to film them than fuck them.
Your kids might be filmed,
but not fucked. There's one thing about Bradford: we film and we don't fuck them. Yeah.
We know our limits.
Yeah. But if you did go over and say something, is it worth it?
You don't know what you're going to expect. You're going to get a knife pulled down. Yeah. You don't know that. Yeah.
I'm not getting a knife in the middle of my chest for having a go. I'm not bothered about people filming my kids.
Well, it is a public space. I don't think there's anything illegal. I don't know the law. Are you allowed to film? It's public space. You are allowed to film. I think for kids, I think there's an exception. You're not allowed to film underage people. You have to block out.
But if you
mosaic their face.
If you're taking it home for your own personal use,
I don't know the rules. I know the rules. Yeah.
But we had I don't know if they've knocked it down yet. But Richard Dunn Sports Centre. You walk in and you walk through a glass tunnel. And then the pool were down there on your right hand side, and then 5-a-side pitches were down there pool were on your left, 5-a-side pitches were on your right, all inside. It was like a big fucking huge building. And at the top, shallow end, as you come into entrance. And every time I went up there to go into gym, it didn't matter what time I were going in there. A weekday, when kids were having a swimming lesson from school, at night when there were kids playing, the kids would always be up shallow end doing swimming lessons, and there were always fellas in baggy pants with their hands in their pockets. This was before phones, just watching. And this was before anybody knew what paedophiles were. You had child molesters and stuff like that. We knew where the child molesters were on your street. You knew where they were. Yeah. Don't go near his house, he's a child molester. So you'd stay away from him.
Where you stand.
You'd stay away from him.
Things were better those days.
There were fella who owned fish and chip shop by us. They were always asking young kids, if you just do a few hours at night, I'll give you some chips. I said, give us some chips first, and then we'll come round just after you're locked up. And he'd give us these chips. I never went back. But if we were thinking, I could get an handful of hairless balls if they come back. I think
he said if you come back.
If you come back after I lock up and help me clean up, I'll give you some chips. I'll give you some chips now. And one of my mates went round there and he had his hands down his pants and everything.
Shit.
Yeah. But he couldn't say out because kids didn't say out. Because nobody believed you. So when we found out that he was touching kids up, we just went there. And he'd say, I'll give you some chips if you come back after I lock up. Yeah, all right then. And just 3 bags of chips. Every night.
That is incredible.
Yeah. But you knew he was a child molester. You stayed away, but you took him for everything he got. Because he would just stood there going, oh, bit of young cock.
Oh.
Did your mum not warn you where the child molesters were when you were in Amsterdam?
No. No.
Oh,
It didn't come up in conversation. It didn't. I never. I felt very safe in Amsterdam, in our neighbourhoods. Yeah, they must have been there. They're everywhere.
They didn't seem to get taken care of in the 70s. There were a. Do you know how you see those little women and those huge fucking sons who were a bit touched in head that are still living with a mother? You see them, don't you? There's that type. Now, this girl got murdered on moors at Saddleworth, a young kid, and I can't remember the names. She was a Polish woman with a mother, and she'd just been feeding this kid, this fucking something wrong with him kid, and he were massive. And this kid had been murdered. She'd been raped and murdered, and they've pulled this fella in, and they locked him up for years. It wasn't him. So they got the sperm, and then when DNA came in, they took his sperm, and he'd not fully grown in the head, so his sperm it didn't have any heads on it because he'd not fully reached puberty, so he'd stuck at fucking 7 or 8 his entire life. Anyway, a few years down the line, this fella had beaten up this prostitute, and they'd got his DNA, they'd found him, and it were him that had murdered this daughter, and they locked him up. Right?
Oh, they didn't forget the other bloke.
They got this other bloke out. He went to live with his mother. His mother was so excited that she dropped dead, and then this kid dropped dead 2 weeks later.
Oh, mate, what a horrible story.
Anyway, the fella that got done, that were found guilty, they eventually caught him. It turned out in the early 70s, he was getting married, and he didn't want to get married. And he got so fucking angry that he's driving his car around. He grabbed 2 girls off the street, like 5 and 6 year old. He got them in his car, drove off. Fucking took them into a derelict house. Fucking wanked all over them. Covered him in cum, got in his car and drove off, right? They caught him, and the judge said, okay, £10 fine, don't do it again. That's what you got in the 70s for that.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. And then, obviously, it was in papers and everything. And the family were just, and this was in the 70s, the family were just, he was under a lot of stress, that's why he did it. He was under, and he still got married.
Oh, Christ, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was him that murdered, but that were child molesters in the 70s. They weren't taken serious.
Yeah, that went a bit under the radar for centuries, I suppose.
Wasn't until internet, wasn't it?
Well, and also since the priests, that all broke. The Catholic Church, all that.
But that's been
nonsense.
Yeah. See, we didn't get that priest business in Bradford because Bradford's not a Catholic town. There's a few Catholic schools, and everybody I know that's been to them is not right when it comes to the ways that well, one of my friends said that obviously it was the priests that were teaching all the time, and it were that they'd go to swimming class because the Catholic schools were really fucking rich, and they had a swimming pool in the school. We never had that. But the priest would make them, all the boys would stand at the side of the pool, and you know that little cup that you get to check the acidity in the water, you put a thing in, don't you? You take a cup out at the end of a stick, you dip it in the pool, you get a small amount of water, you dip the paper in, and it checks the acidity of the water, so if you need to put more chlorine in. So the priest would make 30 lads of young teenage years line up against the edge of the pool, and he'd get a cup of water and throw it on the bollocks before they could jump in the water. Every one of them. 30 of them.
Why?
And you couldn't question it because the priests were king.
Ugh.
So can you imagine the raging fucking erection that fella must have had doing that to 30 lads? Of, well, pubescent, and then they could jump in. So he'd get the cup, he'd put it in the pool, he'd pick it out, and then he'd throw it in the bollocks. Then you could jump in. Every one of them.
All the kids are waiting. Come on, eh?
Every one of them. And I was saying to, well, what was their excuse? Oh, no excuse. They thought it was some sort of religious fucking thing. You
baptised.
Know, you're baptising your cock before you jump in the pool.
Oh.
Yeah. And he got sent somewhere else.
Yeah, well, that's it.
After they left school, he was telling me that lad got sent somewhere else.
sent somewhere else, not sent away.
Yeah.
Not bunged up, sent somewhere else. Isn't that fucking outrageous? Just go on somewhere else.
We know that didn't happen to us because we were at Church of England schools and just normal public schools. I didn't go to any fucking shit school. The 4 schools that I went to, 2 of them have been knocked down. 2 of them were condemned and knocked down. Fucking, yeah. Awful fucking schools.
Yeah, but I think 99% of these priests, no one got sent to prison for it.
No.
People who knew who was sending them, okay, let's bring that bloke somewhere else, they didn't get done either. Oh, it's one of the biggest crimes of humanity.
Yeah. But were there any, there were a lot of teachers fucking students at my school. And the students were very willing for it.
In your school?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
A lot of fellas banging the 6th formers and the fifth graders.
Wow.
16-year-olds.
No, nothing like that.
None of that?
Schools. No.
I think there were a woman at a teacher at my school who, I mean, when you're 13, 14, she probably, I can't remember a beat. I thought, fucking hell, if only. And she would always, I don't know if she was doing it with everybody, but with me especially, she would always lean over me to check my work, and her tits were either side of my shoulder. She would got in really close, and the arm were round, and she'd lean in. Oh. And if I thought if I had the fucking balls, I'd have just reached and grabbed, but I never did. But she would really pushing that hard that I were like this, and with her tits. I should have gone for it, shouldn't I?
Well, you could have been expelled.
But if I just said, well, she was pushing herself against me, I was just pushing her away.
Yeah.
But nobody would believe me. Kids. You see, that's what's switched now, because kids get believed. Everything gets believed now. Back then,
yeah, kids get clip around
kids
your
got
ear.
ignored. They didn't get believed. Yeah. Right. Do you know what to add to that? So we're going to. So in 2025, so 3 years from now, we'll be coming in your ears from the steps of Bradford Town Hall.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We'll do a football game. I might start drinking for the day. We'll go for a curry, and then we'll start a fight on way home.
Well, I think that sounds like a perfectly acceptable Tuesday afternoon.
I'll be 54-year-old. I'll ask my wife if it's okay if I'm single for that week. So we'll see if we can pull maybe an extra from Rita Sue and Bob too. Have you watched that film yet?
Which film?
Rita Sue and Bob.
No.
Why have you not watched
I've not got no time, mate. I'm working my arse off here 7 days a week.
I'll put some clips from Rita Sue and Bob 2 on YouTube channel, and I'll put some on podcast for your listening delight.
Perfect.
Duncan's yawning because this is such a fucking boring podcast for him, so
I've been up every day since 4.
He's been up every day since 4. So have I.
And I've been working until
so have I
until midnight.
And I've also been dealing with fucking madness at work.
Children teachers.
But what's got me fired up is Bradford have won something. So we'll kill it now, and I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Ta-ra!
Bye bye.